It looks like we just got live, man.
Sweet.
Yo, so this is my good friend Tom Bauer, right? And
Hey.
he's a legit swell guy. He's a voice actor for anything that you might love. I personally love him for Hunter x Hunter because that's how I found out about him in the first place. Because the second I heard Feitan English dub, I was like, "That's it, that's it, dude. That's the voice." And I was surprised how well you got it down too, because it took Killua's voice actress a few episodes to get into the role, but you, man, you got it all down almost immediately in the first episode you showed up in.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. It took a lot of practice. I was very nervous about the role. That was kind of my breakthrough role. Was Phaeton in Hunter x Hunter. So it was, and being a fan of the show in the first place, like it was a lot of pressure to just like, okay, I gotta get this right because the fans will kill me if I don't. So it was fun.
Yeah, because I remember the fans actually went insane like over Killua's roughish first performance, which I didn't think was that bad. But you're absolutely right. The Hunter x Hunter fan base could be absolutely brutal.
Yes,
But I guess
I agree.
but I guess that's what happens when you like have such a high quality show, though. Like when you get the expectations set super high, it's gonna be very obvious when something is like even a little bit wrong.
Right.
But I'm just so happy. But by the time by the time Heaven's Arena happened, I think everybody started like being like got settled into their roles, including Killua's voice actress, because Killua just
Right.
finished that arc where he was getting tortured by his family, and I actually like believed everything that he was saying from her mouthpiece. And I was
Yeah.
like, "Ooh, she got into it."
No,
I
yeah,
guess
'cause
it
you
took a
knew the
little torture scenes here and there.
Right. I think they all like when you start a new show, at least for me, you kind of you start off a little rough with your voice. You're still trying to figure it out. You and the director, it's a very collaborative thing. So you're still trying to find all the subtleties in the character and still trying to figure out what this guy is supposed to sound like. And uh, since Hunter x Hunter has like a million episodes, it's easier as you go along to finally discover where the places you got to settle for your voice.
Whoa, I actually got a subscription from this thing, but thank you,
Yeah.
Half. But anyways, I actually had a question like regarding like voice directors now that you mention it. Like you mentioned that big like working with your voice director is a collaborative effort to put out a good performance. So, in your opinion, what do you think is like the difference between a good and bad voice director? Because that's a job that nobody ever actually talks about.
That's true. The difference between a good and bad voice director. Well, voice directors have different style that you kind of have to get accustomed to. But I will say a good voice actor knows how to translate actor speak, and what I mean by that is it helps if a director is an actor themselves, and a lot of the directors that I've worked with have been pretty active doing acting. Like Tony Oliver, for instance, he's had a number of roles. He's Rick Hunter in Robotech. He's Lupin the Third. So he's had experience as both an actor and as a director. So it's really easy for me to talk to someone like him when I'm trying to figure out like character stuff. It's definitely a very collaborative process. So you have to really be in tune with your director in order to produce a quality dub in regards to anime. A bad director can't do that, but a good director, because oftentimes when you're in the booth, you'll have the producer there, and they'll have their own ideas. But the thing with producers most of the time is that they don't know how to speak actor. They don't know actor speak. They don't know how to translate a direction, what they want into a direction. And that's what the director's job is. They take what the producer wants, like saying like, a producer will say like, can you make him sound more excited in this scene? And the director will be like, okay, so you want him just louder. Hey, can you do this scene a little faster and louder? And that'll translate into more of an excited tone that the producer is looking for. Then the director will consult with the producer and see, was that what you meant? And the producer will be like, yeah, genius, you did a great job. So that's hey, Half Enlightened, hi everybody. Thanks for joining us on the stream. But that, I feel, is the difference between a good and bad director.
Yo, that is like legit fascinating stuff because I have never heard anybody even talk about voice directors. And really, Tony Oliver, he did a really convincing Lupin voice. Like, that dude is just like legit. But I think everybody's like super legit on those Lupin dubs.
Oh yeah, they're all fantastic. I remember I was talking to Tony about how he developed Lupin, and he was like, "It was really easy. I just did a Bugs Bunny impression." And that was his Lupin.
Oh man, that actually makes way too much sense now that I think about it, because let's be real here, he's just as much as a jackass as Bugs Bunny.
Right.
Speaking of Lupin the Third's voice actors though, and being voice directors, Richard Epcar.
That dude. He's a tall dude, man.
He's the voice director for Lupin the Third Part 4, right?
That's right.
And that dude has some rage. Like, he did Raiden for Mortal Kombat, and I would not know if you told me that he did Xemnas for Kingdom Hearts 2. Like, what? It's not completely different.
Yeah, that dude just got just a buttery smooth voice on him, man. And it's funny because whenever you walk into the booth and you see that the microphone is just like up to high heaven, you're like, oh, Richard was here.
Yeah, I keep on even like mentioning to my friends like, dog, only reason I'm playing Kingdom Hearts 3 right now is just to hear 13 versions of Richard Epcar's velvety voice. Like, come on, man, I paid $7 in a red box for this. I better get some Richard Epcar.
Right, there you go.
Man, that dude is like, and he's a legit nice guy too. I lurk on him on like Twitter all the time. He legit loves his fans.
Oh, he does. He's really, really good to his fans. He's a nice dude in person too. I've only met him a couple of times, but every time I've had to look up. But like, he's a really, really, really cool guy.
So how tall do you think he is?
Oh, he's like 10 feet tall. He's that dude. That dude, you have to ask how the weather is up there, because he's a tall dude.
Man, and he's also a musician, right? From what I understand.
Yeah, that's right. He does some music too.
What can't this guy do? Like,
I
Jesus.
know, right? Jack of all trades. Stop it. He's so talented.
God, he's just... Man, so... My friend Araxis wanted to know something. Like, how did you, like, get your first break into the industry? Like, what did you end up doing?
I went kind of a little bit of a conventional way into breaking into the industry. I didn't know really much about voice acting. I was always kind of a fan of... I was the weird kid who would always just wait to the end credits to see who voiced who. So I was kind of a fan. I started off being a fan of voice actors. And the way that... What's up, Game Jammin'? Thanks for the follow. Torbrex, yeah. It's interesting because my background was in computer technology, so it was doing like tech support and all that stuff. And I was working at Hulu. This was how long ago was this? This must have been like at least 6 or 7 years ago. I was working at Hulu, and a friend of mine was saying he was taking voiceover classes. Hulu's headquarters is located in and around Santa Monica in California, so a SoCal area. And he was saying he was taking classes up in Burbank, and I was like, "That's cool. Like, what kind of voiceover are you doing?" And he was telling me the type of voice acting they concentrated on was anime dubbing, which I was always a fan of anime growing up. And I was like, "That's cool. Can I come to the class?" And he was like, "Yeah, just sign up." And the rest is kind of history after that. I signed up for the class. I took it. I did a shitty job. Really, really bad. I had a little bit of an acting background. I took the most acting I've ever had was in high school. And I suddenly realized, because I was under the impression that voice acting is just doing funny voices, and was I wrong? And that class proved it. It was definitely an eye opener, and it was like, oh, I need to become a real actor in order to do this. So I took more acting classes. I came back and did some more voiceover stuff. And I studied under Tony Oliver, actually. So that's how he and I became pretty good friends. And after that, I started about a year's worth of taking classes. I cut my first demo, found my first agent. Tony hooked me up with Bang Zoom Entertainment, who produces and dubs a lot of your favorite anime. And the rest is history after that. I kind of fell into it, met some more new, cool, interesting people, and they liked me enough. They hooked me up. They brought me in, and that's kind of how I did it. That's kind of how I fell into this crazy thing, and I'm in love with it. And I don't really want to go back to IT tech work or anything like that. So this was great.
Man, you heard it here, folks. Tom Bauer is a voice actor because he just felt like it one day.
Yeah, honestly. And if you have a real interest in it, and you work hard and you're just good to everybody and you're likable and relatable, like, you'll definitely go far in any industry that you try to follow.
Take this to heart, fella. Anybody who wants to do a voice acting gig, if you want to do it, just fucking do it.
Just do it. Yeah, honestly, don't wait. Just start fucking doing it. Like, just go on. I remember I used to, for fun, as a hobby, I would go onto the voice acting websites. There's like the Voice Acting Club. There used to be, I don't think it's around anymore, but Voice Acting Alliance. I was on that. And I used to do like the fan dubs and all that. And that's kind of how I got my start and practice into that. I didn't really take it seriously, but I was just like, you know what? I want to do it. It's fun. I enjoy it. It's just a hobby of mine that eventually, who knew, like, it turned out into a weird career.
Ooh, VFX Mario has a fun question if you want to answer that.
Sweet. VFX Mario says, I do have one question for now. How do you deal with additional takes? Do you usually mess with your pitch first or speed? It depends on what the reason is for the additional take. Usually when you're dubbing or doing video games, you're going like a million miles an hour. It is just super quick. Like, the way they solve this for video games is, most video games that I've done, actually. Most video games, like Secret of Mana, there's a new game that I'm really excited to announce, and I can't yet, but it's a really cool. But you'll do 3 takes of the same line all in a row, and you have to provide a different take for each of those. So say it's like, the line is, I love you. You have so many different ways to say it, so it's up to the director to give you the context. Okay, it's like, you're saying I love you, but you're sad. It's like, okay, so now I have to think, now that I have the direction, and it's like, okay, what is this character feeling? How are we doing this? I got to come up with 3 sad ways to say I love you. You can be like, I love you. Or you can be really melodramatic and sad about it, being like, I love you. Or you can just be really, like, embarrassed by it, but still sad, like, I love you. And so there are different, so you have to give those 3 different takes. You have to know how you're going to do it, like, right away. Because once you get your beeps, speaking in voice acting terms, the beeps, they'll give you 3 beeps, and then you go, you say the line. And you do 3 in a row for video games. So you have to have you have to have 3 different takes already in your mind after the director gives you the direction for what the line means. So it's difficult. It's very difficult to do additional takes. And if they need a 4th or 5th take, that happens too. Tony had a really good story, because I used to do, like, in anime, they'll give you like 1 or 2 takes. Like, if you just nail it on the first take, they'll just take that take. But if you have like different ideas, I was actually when was it? Friday, I was working on a new anime that's coming out, I think, in a couple months. But the director I had was awesome. And it's a really funny, like, it's a really like kind of funny, almost like cartoony anime, and that's all I'll say about that because I can't really give any more information. But it's I gave a take where I'm a dude who jumps in the air as an explosion's going on. So I was just like, "Oh, it's too powerful!" That was my line, and I was like, "Can I try something else? Can I do like a really cartoony version of that?" And they were like, "Go for it." And so I did a more high-pitched one. It's too powerful, and it just like killed everybody in the booth. Like it's just so it depends on how your director is, what your style is. If you have your own ideas, you can contribute that your director and producer are really like into. So, way to handle additional additional takes is to read the room. See how your director is. If your director is just kind of serious and just knows what this should sound like, you probably just want to go with your director. Maybe if you have one or two ideas, you can try just say, "Hey, I have something. Is it okay if I try this?" Director will sometimes say, "No, we got it. That was perfect. Like I think that sounded great," and you just follow their lead. So it really, really depends. But that's a great question, Mario. In terms of pitch or speed, usually with me it's speed because I'm a pretty fast talker, especially when it comes to anime. So a lot of the times when script writers or when writers are doing script adaptation and they know I'm cast in this role, they'll put in a couple of extra words to try to fill the lip flaps so that they accommodate my the way I speak, because I speak really, really fast, especially when I'm dubbing. Erica Mendez, who directed or who wrote Fate Apocrypha, was very accommodating to me for a lot of stuff. So I really appreciate her.
Erica Mendez, the woman who voiced Gon?
Yeah, she voices Gon in Hunter x Hunter. She did the script adaptation for Fate Apocrypha.
Whoa, is everybody at Bang Zoom multi-talented like that?
Yeah, a lot of people do voice acting and directing and writing. Jalen K. Castle, he does a lot of he started off doing a lot of script adaptation for Bang Zoom, and now he's doing all these. He has all these wonderful roles. So Bang Zoom is a really good like studio to like, because they have their own like teaching program, so they'll teach you how to voice act, and then they'll help kind of groom you, and depending on what you want to do. A lot of people were like interested in doing an audio engineering class, so I think they may be starting that up hopefully sometime within the next couple of years. They're also I think Tony was interested in starting a script adaptation class, how to write for anime and things like that. So if you guys are SoCal, and I know Tony travels a lot with the Adventures in Voice. There we go. Tony is really good with his students, especially with whether it's voice acting or directing or whatever. So if you guys are like, this is a plug for Adventures in Voice Acting. If you guys are local to SoCal, I know Tony does travel across the country. Sometimes he'll do stuff in New York and Chicago. But like if you see like a Bang Zoom table at a con near you, let them know like, hey, like we would love for you to teach our classes here. Get a group of your friends together. As long as you can fill up a studio and pay the money, like they'll most likely be interested in coming and checking out where you're at. So definitely feedback from fans is so important. So if you guys want whatever you guys want, like the producers, the directors, the studios, they do listen to you. So definitely keep it up, guys. But thanks for the question, man. That was a really, really great question.
Man, so you mentioned how you voice a lot of characters and you have a problem with speaking like super quickly, right?
Yeah.
So Kazami actually had an interesting question. Feitan has a really slow style of speech. How did it feel to voice Feitan? Like knowing all that.
It was so difficult. It was so difficult. I was just telling Torbrex before the chat that it was voicing Feitan was my kind of breakout role. That was the role that now people started paying attention to me. Because I had started I had done some voice acting for Bang Zoom, but a lot of what's called Wallace sessions. So those sessions are a lot of the background noises you hear. If you see a crowd of people, I'm probably among those voices, and maybe one or two incidental characters that don't have a name, but like they still need a voice, and like I'll come in and I'll do those voices. But yeah, Feitan was really difficult. Funny story about that was I had auditioned for Feitan. When was it? It was like in, I forget what year it was, but it was like, it must have been like about 2 years ago. But in like August, and I was like really like, oh, this is my first real like kind of live audition. I don't want to mess this up. I'd gotten a couple auditions before, but I didn't feel good about them. But like I knew the show Hunter x Hunter, and I knew the anime and a little bit of the manga too. So I kind of had an idea what I wanted to do, but for references, I went back to the 1999 anime, and I started listening to how that voice actress did Feitan. And it was very like she had a very like kind of caveman style to it, which wasn't what I really wanted to go with. And then I started listening to the Japanese Feitan for the 2000 redub, and I liked his manner because it was just really like slow and deliberate and just creepy. And so I really tried to emulate that voice actor. So a lot of my influence comes from the Japanese dub. I tried to follow his mannerisms, his speech patterns, and all that. And at first, Feitan sounded really different. My Feitan sounded really different. Because now when I first started Feitan, he talked at a normal rate. So I kind of had to put in that creepy vibe and make it a little bit more constricted in my voice. And it changed because the producer was just like, no, he needs to sound a little bit slower and broken up because English isn't his first language. And I panicked because I was brought in. We had already recorded like 8 episodes with Feitan, and I panicked because we had to go back and re-record all my lines to put in this new direction that the producer wanted, which was to have Feitan have a broken English. So I didn't know how to do that. I was like, oh, how do I sound like I don't know English? And Tony was just like, just don't make him sound racist. And I was like, cool, awesome, great direction, Tony. And so I was just like, how about if I just like break it up? Like he has to maybe think about each thing he says before he says it. So it became more deliberate, and it really slowed down my speech pattern. And it was really 2 things with Feitan. It was really easy because I didn't have any lip flaps to match, because his face was always the bottom portion of his face, at least his mouth, was covered by his cowl. But the challenging part was that I had to fit in all this information while talking slowly so I don't cut off everybody's line. Like there was a point where I was just like trying to get lines in, and I don't know if they ever occasionally whenever we fuck up lines, Tony especially will keep like those fuck ups as bloopers, and if the company wants those bloopers, he'll give them to them. But like I kept like there was this, forget what the line was, but it was it was Feitan talking to Nobunaga, if you're familiar with the show. It's a samurai guy, and another member of the Phantom Troop. And I kept trying to explain to him something about Hisoka, and like I kept going over his fucking line, and I was like, Nobunaga, shut the fuck up for one and let me finish the line. So that was really difficult, but we found a good pace for it, and luckily it all turned out really, really well.
I just kind of imagining Feitan just telling Nobunaga to shut the fuck up.
Oh, there's a lot of that. I curse terribly when I'm in the booth, so I have to watch myself though, because some directors I don't like. First time directors, no, I'll be a good boy, but with Tony, I'll be like, oh shit balls, like I'll just scream out whatever profanity I have in my head at the moment.
Oh man, that's just great though. Like it's good to like Are those bloopers in the Blu-ray disc by any chance?
It depends. Sometimes it depends on the distributor. I don't think they're on there. And I know every time there are bloopers with me because I always just fuck up a line somehow, some way. But I know like director Alex Von David when I was recording for Sword Art Online, he loves bloopers, so he'll occasionally keep them, and Aniplex will sometimes take bloopers, and like they'll give him permission to play. Like he'll sometimes save them for conventions, and he'll play them out during like panels and stuff. So it really it depends on the people who are producing the dub.
Yo, I can totally see like using that to air some dirty laundry. He's like, hey, you want to see some of our employees fuck up real bad in the booth?
Yeah.
Come down to Comic-Con.
Oh gosh. Hello everybody. I'm going through the chat right now. I know I've been talking a lot. Yes, Half Enlightened, that's the trick to success is networking. Yeah, networking, and I'm bad at it. So you just have to, honestly, people just find me adorable for some reason, and I'm just going with it. So
I find him adorable.
I'm glad. Oh, thank you. VFX Mario, yeah, sadly VAA is gone. Yeah, the Voice Acting Alliance. Casting Call Club is great for fan projects. Yeah. I think I did one project. That's how I got to be in another. There's a video game coming out called Winds of Change, and I think that's how I got to be on there too. Word up on networking. We're excited for you to announce that game. Hey, Game Jammin', what's up? Cosmic Gaming. I mean, yeah, but no puppy eyes on him. Let's be effective. Thank you guys. Thank you. I've never really considered that career, to be honest, but it does sound cool. It is cool. Voice acting is cool, Cosme. It's not for everybody, obviously, but you know, if you want to do it, just try it. You never know. I fell into it kind of accidentally, so thank you, Half Enlightened. Thank you guys. Thank you.
These are all these are all really good people, so I'm excited they're able to show up to ask you some questions.
What's up, Aesthetic? Aesthetic is here. Like, it's not like just having a good voice, right? You have to have a lot of... Yeah, Cosme, the most important thing is just... You don't even have to have a good voice. You just have to be a decent actor. If you're a decent actor, you're halfway there. And you just have to be able to take direction well. I think those are the two most important things. Be an actor, and like know what it is to act and how to emote and do all those things, different things with your voices. It's more important than doing those different things with your voices. Just be able to emote and take direction. And like I said earlier, if you're just a likable dude and you're cool to get along with, and you're nice and you're humble and you're kind and you help out other people, like you'll go really, really far in whatever industry you're trying to achieve success in.
So speaking of like not needing to even have a good voice to do you ever like what would you call that? Do you ever like move around in a booth to help you get in the mood when doing voices? Because I know when I try to do funny voices to entertain people on my stream, I would just like sometimes just get up right off my chair and start doing stupid shit just to help give like a funny voice.
Yeah, it's important. Okay, so there's a caveat to it, because when you're voice acting, you need to make sure your face is facing the mic, because if you go off mic, they can't use that take. So you can move your hands and arm and whatever around, as long as you're not making noise that's going to pick up on the mic, and that your face is, at least your mouth is in front of the mic, so that they can pick it up and use the take. But oftentimes, yeah, sometimes I'll mimic what the character is doing in the anime. Like, for instance, like when Caules is using his command spells to do his Noble Phantasm in Fate Apocrypha, he like holds out his arm and stuff. So I'll do that. I'll just hold out my arm and like pretend I'm doing that same thing that he's doing. It really helps. So as long as you're not making noise for the mic and that your mouth in front of the mic.
Man, that reminds me, like, whenever I play Dragon Ball FighterZ with my friends, right? I have this thing with my friends where I imitate fucking anything I play, like on that goddamn game. So one day I picked a team of like 3 different Vegetas, right? So I was just like sitting there with a big fat fucking arcade stick on my friend's living room with this dog right there. And all my friends, we have a ton of beer just laying around. It's like I just turned around to one of my friends. I was just like, "So you think you can take on the Prince of All Saiyans, do ya?" And I was just like, I started like beating the fucking shit out. It's like, no, this can't be! Me being defeated by this low-class warrior!
Nice, man, nice. That's good energy. But
like
yeah, you have to have all that. Yeah,
it's
so yeah, really good
do.
question. Half Enlighted had one in the chat. As a voice actor, is there any like precautions you have to take, like to take care of your voice? Yeah, there are a ton. If you know that, there are a couple things you can do. You always want to make sure you're healthy, so get plenty of rest. Have plenty of fluids. Drink plenty of water. A lot of actors recommend just room temperature water as opposed to cold water, especially if you're going in before a session. And most of the studios will have water there available for you. Some of them, like Bang Zoom, will actually have green apples that you can chow on. Because sometimes if you have a noisy mouth and you're doing a lot of like lip smacking and you have a lot of just saliva in your mouth, chewing on a green apple, the acidity in it will absorb all that, and then you'll be ready to go for the next take. What I also like, let me see if I have one here. So give me a second. I think you guys can still hear me, but there's what Fred Tatasciore calls Hulk juice, and I forget how to pronounce it, but it's this syrup that's really, really handy if you have like a sore throat. I think I'm out of it, otherwise I'd show you. It's called like Nim Jim. Oh, is it? No, I am out of it. I gotta get more. But it's a really good syrup. I think if you look up like Fred Tatasciore Hulk juice, it might come up. But it's a like a wonder drug, man. Like it really helps just soothe your throat if it's just like sore from doing voice acting or whatever else. But yeah, and the best thing to do when you're sick is just rest and try to conserve your voice. If you're doing like screaming sessions, a tip I have for you, or if you know that there's going to be like screaming in an anime or video game, or you can even ask the director, hey, is there going to be any shouting or yelling or screaming during this? And they say, yeah, you can ask them, hey, can we save those for last? That way you get my primo voice for all the dialogue, and then I can just blow it all out doing the screams last. So that's a good precaution you can take if you're really wanting to get into voice acting. Good question though, Half Enlighted.
So speaking of precautions, do you ever get like mucus in your throat? How do you clear that out?
You just have to take a moment and just clear your throat. Just clear it, and if you have to, usually they'll have a waste bucket in the booth with you too. Just it's gross, but maybe if you have to, just spit it out or or swallow it or whatever you want to do with it. Just clear your throat out and make sure you're ready for the take.
Man,
you have a little bit of time in between takes to like have a sip of water or take a bite of an apple or something like that.
Man, totally embarrassing, but for anybody listening, if you want to clear out your throat of like mucus, something that I find that works totally well for me, and this is gonna be really fucking embarrassing, but just put on some music on your phone while you're taking a super goddamn hot ass shower, right? And just start like belting out lyrics while you're just like singing. It's freaking clear out my throat.
Yeah. Yeah, I sing in the car and shower very often, so that can help.
Yeah, I do that every time before every single stream, and every time I feel like I could just go at whatever I'm doing. It's fun.
Yeah. For sure. Aesthetic says, also, man, I've always wanted to go into acting, but I've been so scared. Don't be. I mean, it is scary. It's a very scary thing. But you should try it. Try it and see if you like it. If you don't like it, if it's just something like, oh, this isn't, at least you tried, you know? Life is about new experiences, so give it a shot. You can't really change my degree or path so much. Well, Aesthetic, I hear you on that. It's difficult. It's difficult to balance that. And Crispin Freeman actually has a good podcast called the Voice Acting Mastery that I used to be a part of. He had a subset of it called the Voice Acting Mastery Field Report. Me and 2 other voice actors were on that, and we do journalism all about voice acting. And he has a good episode where he talks about balancing like what it's expected of you of your your real job or your working career, and how you balance that with if you want to pursue something creative like voice acting and stuff like that. So I don't think there's anything wrong with like taking a class, and you never know, maybe that could be something that supplements a lot of people I know, they'll have a real job and then they'll supplement it with voice acting. Or like a couple of musicians I know, they do music all the time, but like they'll occasionally do some voice acting. So you never know. You can it's nothing wrong with trying it as a hobby either.
Yeah, that's something I've been considering doing, but since I live in South Florida, I was like, well, I'm fucked. So I just move on.
Gotcha.
Life goes on. It sucks, but location is also important.
Well, if you're looking, I have a voice actor teacher who used to live in Burbank, who moved to Florida. I don't know where in Florida, honestly, but MJ Lalo, she's in Florida and she teaches voice acting. So I can give her your information if you're interested, because I know she's in Florida now, but I don't know where in Florida she's at. So.
Oh yeah, we could definitely help me add to the stream, but
yeah, she's like super cheap too. She'll do like an intro session for like $40. So if you got something like that, yeah. Whoa. Yeah, and that's she's one of the first teachers I started off with, and she's very quirky, really cool lady. So definitely check it out. Let's see. I see I have strong communication issues on top of not being good at networking or anything. I'm a nerve wreck at the thought of choosing a career path and stuff. I think I'm nice, but way too introverted for stuff like that. Cosme, have you encountered Xanthi Wynn? Like, she is... Oh. Okay, give me 1 second, guys. Sorry, I got to move my car. So, I will be back. I'm going to take a little break. I forgot street sweeping is here.
Okay, take your time, man. We'll just use this as an intro.
Give me a second.
Alright. Yeah, VFX Mario. I mean, yeah, fuck it. I mean, this person is gonna be teaching in Florida, so I don't see why not. So hit her up, man. Very good to know. Where do you, if you don't mind me asking, where do you live now, by any chance? And yes, half I fucking sing in the shower before every stream. Like I make it a point to stream immediately after I shower too, so I feel like immediately super fresh when I do my streams. Because the last time I streamed without like doing my usual morning routine, I was just like, I was playing Breath of the Wild. You know how that fucking went. I was like, Yo, Tom, what's up, dude? I mean, just give me a moment here. My interviewee is off moving his car right now, so we're just calling this an intro. I'm just talking to you guys, just saying what's up. Also, Tom, let me know when you're streaming Digimon next, because, dude, that's like a legit fun stream. I love Digimon, and it needs more love. Word up to you for showing that to people. Go to chat, write down questions for the chat. Ooh, okay, let's see what you I don't know, what was the big acting hurdle you overcome at the beginning? Ooh, VFX Mario. Find out more about my weakness. Yeah, I'm definitely grabbing that. VFX Mario. Good question. Oh, that was quick.
Yeah. Sorry, I had an alarm go off and I gotta move my car. Alright, yes, I'm back.
Man, so what were we talking about again? I legit forgot. Right. The voice actress is in Florida.
Oh yeah. So yeah, check her out, MJ Lalo. And I was responding to Kazumi said something about I know a lot of introverted actors. Like I'm definitely one of them, and I am not good at networking. I'm gonna tell you straight up. I'm really bad at it. I hate asking people for things, so it's okay if you're not that good at it. Like you can still find your way as long as you're genuine with how humble and kind and helpful you are to other people, they'll see that and they'll be willing to help you out. And what I do is sometimes I'll like ask to go out for a coffee with a friend or someone who I want to network with, or I'll treat them to lunch or a beer or something. And that tends to get things going in a nice way. So if you need any tips for that, that's what I do. Sometimes it's easy as just, hey, I'm a voice actor. I'd love to pick your brain. I know some people, I tend to do that for people. There are a couple of people who've reached out to me in Los Angeles who are like, hey, I'm a voice actor. Can I buy you a coffee or anything like that? And if I've got the time, I'll hit them up usually.
Man, Tom, I'm just gonna let you know, I'll buy you a beer for fun, just because you're a bro.
Dude, I'll buy you a shot, man. Let's do it.
Shots!
Shots. You go to school to get an education, not to find a job. Well, there you go.
I'm doing it for both.
There you go. I have another, says VFX Mario. What would you say was a big acting hurdle you had to overcome in the beginning? As someone starting out, I feel I still need to find more of my weaknesses. I think it's definitely the biggest thing was figuring out what and being comfortable with what and how I sounded like. Because I always tried to go for the roles that were kind of like the leading man kind of things, and those are whenever I'd be in class studying voice acting, I would look at all the scripts that they had and I'd be like, oh, here's the leading man stuff, here's all this. Or I choose like the deeper voice characters because I thought I had a deeper voice, but it turns out I have a really young sounding voice, but it's more of like an older brother type. So you'll see in a lot of the roles that I do, I'm mostly the older brother / sidekick types. Caules in Fate Apocrypha, he's the older brother type. Hush, he was the sidekick to Mikazuki. Although like even Randy in Secret of Mana, like he's someone who starts off as really introverted and like, no, I can't do this, I can't be, and then he grows and becomes the hero that he is. And I have an interesting story about that too, but I'll tell that a little later. But the biggest acting hurdle definitely was realizing what I sounded like, and the way to figure that out is to get somebody else's ears in front of you. To have them listen to you voice act, be it a mentor or teacher, someone who knows what they're talking about in terms of acting, and having them tell you, this is what you sound like. You should become more comfortable with that. And it helps to get multiple opinions too. That way you can make your own conclusions as to, okay, these are these are the what are called archetypes. These are like, and they're kind of like stereotypical characters. Like if you're looking for like the dashing rogue, like that's a Han Solo type, or even like a Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man type. Or if you're looking for the idealistic young hero, that's Luke Skywalker or Randy in Secret of Mana, things like that. So definitely get, and if I can just, I'm gonna promote Crispin Freeman a little bit because he's an amazing teacher. He's really disciplined, and he can be a little tough. So it might be kind of have to have a thick skin if you want to work with him. But he he teaches an archetype class, and he helps you figure out what your archetypes are. So, and you can do online Skype coaching with him. And so if you really want to do that, I'd say, hey, put away a little bit of money, study with him. He'll help you figure out what your archetypes are.
So, Tom, now that you talked about all that, what do you think my archetype would be?
You definitely have... I think it would be like, right now, like, after hearing your, like your Vegeta, it was, like, very, just, like, ooh, like, very, like, an energetic. I would say your archetype is, like, a very, like, kind of goofy, like high school kid, like, very goofy, like, kind of just, like, like the comedic relief, like, the comedic, like, best friend. Like, if you're, like in a harem anime, you would be the best friend to the main character.
Yes,
I think.
That's what I was thinking, because I was thinking to myself just now, I was like, dude, I would be so freaking baller as like that of those super horny sidekick characters, the harem main character, who are like, dude, why aren't you trying to get laid, bro? They're super hot, bro. What are you doing, bro? I was like, that would be so much fun to do. Just like Get paid to sit in a booth and perv on anime girls. Like, dude.
Get paid.
That'd be so awesome. Like, as much fun as it is to be doing shonen screaming, I think that would be like way more fun. You're just like,
For sure.
I also always wanted to know what it was like to be in like one of those ghost story style dubs where you're just getting paid to do stupid shit.
That's gotta be fun. I would love to do something like that, like to do like a Shin-Chan or a Ghost Story kind of dub, like, or even an Excel Saga kind of dub. Like that would be, man, that'd be fucking fun. Like I would love to do something like that.
Oh man, no. Jeez, now I kind of want to actually hit up this person to see what I could do for myself in this field.
There you go.
It would be super fun. Ooh.
I always sing or hum before recording, says VFX Mario. It's a good warm up. Yeah, that's true. If you're a singer, that's gonna help you tremendously, because if you have a really good vocal range, or if you know how to control the more you're able to, the more you know your voice, the more you're able to control it, the better you're off you're gonna be with voice acting. Sure.
Ooh. So
Let's see.
Oh,
Let's see. Aesthetic has a question. Tom, I have a question in regards to how you began, and I think we've talked about this before. Did you ever consider any other field other than the entertainment industry? Well, like I did mention before that I was my background was in computer science. I wanted to do stuff with technology because I was obsessed with technology. I love technology. I love stuff just like computers and like the advancement of technology and just the new crazy shit. I love robots. I love things like that. So I was always just kind of looking forward to like a career in that.
He's a man to my heart.
So it was that when I was a kid, I wanted to be an astronaut, but I slowly like, there's no way.
Holy shit, it's literally me.
I am not fit for that. So, but that's what I was going to do, and now I'm doing just entertainment stuff, and now I'm spreading out. Like I'm doing my gaming channel now, and still doing the voice acting thing. I'm trying stand-up comedy, a little bit of on-camera acting I used to do too. So there's a lot.
There you go. God, just spreading the good word of your gaming channel. If it, guys, legit, check out his Twitch. Like, he is legit fun. He's more fun than me. I just sit around, like, start screaming and stupid shit, but he has, like, legit fun with, like, his friend Kyle and Game Jam and all that. And speaking of that, check out Game Jam's channel. He's a legit fun, good streamer, too.
Yeah,
all these people are better than me.
So, thank you. Let's see. Yeah, I'm just going, I'm sorry if I missed your question. I'm going through the chat right now to see what questions you guys have. And also trying to respond to things. Thanks, Fighting Tom. Welcome back, Mr. Bauer. Appreciate it. Thank you. Made it. What's up, Libido Burrito? I like that. Your screen name is sick. Libido Burrito. I love it. Shots. Can you still send questions? Yeah, Murray, please send your questions. You can type them here on the chat. I'm going back right now looking to see if I missed any, but I think I got most of them. If I did, just write it down again, and hopefully I'll pick it up. What was it like voicing Randy in Secret of Mana, he asked Murray. It was fun. It was intimidating. When I first got the script, I didn't know when I got the audition for it. I was working with the same director. The director for Secret of Mana was also the director for Halo Wars 2. And I'm the voice of Mantis in that. And it was my first time working with her. She was awesome. And she was like, hey, you sound really good. I'm casting this other thing. And I'm desperately looking for actors. Like, would it be okay if I send you some sides? I gave her my business card, and she was like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, send them to me. So she sent me the sides, and I didn't recognize it was from Secret of Mana at first. There were like a ton of them, like for almost every character in the game. Like I had like 20 sides, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm just gonna pick out the ones that I think I'm good at. I didn't think I was going to get Randy. I thought, if you guys are familiar with the game, I was going to get Prim's boyfriend. I forget what his name is. But I thought I was going to get that. I was almost positive. Like, I was like, this lends itself to my voice. It's like a sidekick character. I'm going to nail this. And the director comes out and says, hey, like not even 2 weeks later, was like, "Oh, you booked the lead in this," and I was like, "Cool." And I still didn't know what it was. I was like excited because I was like, "Oh, cool, I'm a lead. What is this?" I looked it up. Turns out it's Secret of Mana, and I was like, "Oh, this is a lot. I gotta make sure I really bring it." But it was fun. Like the director made it super easy. The producer from Square Enix was there too. Super nice. They showed me some early footage of what the game was gonna look like and all that. So that really helped inform my character. It's interesting because we also recorded DLC for Secret of Mana. We recorded some episodes. One was a prologue to it of Randy sneaking into Sage Luca's temple before the events of Secret of Mana happened when he was a younger kid. So I had to put on a little bit of a younger voice. And there's also an epilogue that I guess never really got released, which is a shame because those were really fun, and I thought they'd be really cool for the Secret of Mana fans to check out. But they didn't utilize them for whatever reason. But it was really fun working on the game. Lots and lots of fun.
Oh man, really intense. So even if you get a role, you might have to put on different voices depending on the circumstance.
It depends. Like for if you're like doing Union like Western animation cartoons, you have to be able to do at least 3 voices. So you have to at least be able to do 3 characters. For if you're like the lead, you rarely have to. Like in Secret of Mana, all I did was Randy. I have one. They were like, crap, we're missing a line. Can you just voice this really quick? And I was cool with it. Like I was like, yeah. And it was like one of the like ant people, I think, in like the desert. So there's like a desert scene, and I voiced one of them. But more often than not, if you're like the lead, you'll just have to concentrate on the lead. If you're like a side character, more then you'll probably get to voice like other characters too.
Whoa. Man, so speaking of like that hullabaloo with like just oh crap moments, what do you think is like the most stressful part of voice acting, asked by Fate Titan?
Ooh, the stressful part about voice acting? I would say just not knowing what you're getting yourself into. A lot of the times with anime, it's not so difficult because you have access to like stuff like Crunchyroll now, where you can see the Japanese anime and get a reference to what you're doing. And I personally, I will do that to prepare for an anime role. I'll watch the anime and see what the Japanese voice actor did and try to maybe do my best to mimic them the best I can, while also putting my own spin on it if I have a couple of good ideas. But like for stuff like video games, oftentimes you have no idea what you're getting yourself into, so you just have to be prepared for anything. I think the hardest part of voice acting is being versatile enough to be like, if the director says like, okay, you're gonna play this serial killer, you have to be willing to go to that dark place and just have fun with it and have no judgment over this person who is a deranged lunatic who's just killing people. Like you have to just be into it and be willing to go to those places. So I think that's the hardest part of voice acting, is sometimes you're just jumping right in, you're just add water and go acting, just you don't know what you're getting yourself into, but you have to be prepared for it.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So even whoa man, that's freaking crazy though. Like yeah, now that you say something, like until a video game comes to America, we like have nothing for like access for like reference material unless you just go through YouTube videos of some Japanese player.
Right. So it helps with anime because I can do a little bit of research, or sometimes they'll give you like a little character description of what you're doing or something. They'll give you a little something. Sometimes you can even ask like, hey, is it possible to get the script ahead of time so I know what I'm doing? For Secret of Mana, that was they gave me the scripts ahead of time, so I knew sort of what I was going into, but because they only gave me my line, so there wasn't a lot of context for what the other actors were doing. But I could still figure it out through my own dialogue what we were doing.
So do you have like so do you have any like funny stories that ever happened because of like the situation when you're like just called into a booth and just something crazy happens?
Let's see. Funny stories. Lex Lang, you guys might know. He's a voice actor and director. He trolled me once. He was my director for Mobile Suit Gundam Iron Blooded Orphans.
Oh
And
God.
I'm a huge Gundam fan. I was into it when they first debuted it on Toonami so many years ago when I was in high school. In fact, oh God, that was like 16 years ago, a long time. So I told him I'm gonna get a tattoo of the Tekkaden symbol for those of you who are familiar with Iron Blooded Orphans, which I got on my arm. Let's see.
Word up.
See it right there. And I got it. Spoiler alert: if you guys haven't seen Iron Blooded Orphans, I'm going to talk about my character, Hush. He tragically gets killed at the end of the series, and his last line he tells to the main character Mikazuki to keep going, don't stop. And so I have the Tekken symbol on there with the words "keep going" on there, and and I knew this because I watched the Japanese and. Lex, as when I was in the booth, I did that. I was performing the scene, and I did it, and I had like all the emotions, and like I was actually literally crying throughout that take. And at the last, after I finished, like Hush's last words were "keep going." Lex goes on the intercom and says, I don't really like that line. Let's change it. After he saw my fucking tattoo that I had his last line on there. And I was like, oh, thanks, Lex. But he was just pranking me. He kept it. And it was a funny story. Like, we had the after party, and he fucking told that story to everybody. But it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Fucking mood killer.
Yeah, seriously.
Excuse me, Tom, I'm not feeling that line. I feel like you weren't really into it.
But it was still, I mean, he's a good guy. He was really cool. I just ran into him at what was it? It was a red carpet event. Oh, the Anime LA Film Festival. Me and a bunch of other famous voice actors were rocking the red carpet, and he was doing his some people are on the Unlocked app, and he was doing like a live stream at the party, and he was just like, oh, here's Tom Bauer, you know, did you get any other tattoos? I showed him. I have a halfway done Secret of Mana tattoo of the Mana sword, so I'm getting that. I gotta get that colored in, but
see that, Murray?
Yeah,
you got fans here too.
Dialogue, that's who it is, Murray. Thank you. That's who the guy who I thought I was going to play in Secret of Mana, but let's see. Oh, Aesthetic has another question. What is your goal as a voice actor? Like, what is the major thing you want to do with your career? I hope that made sense. It's hard because to have goals as me personally as a person, I get really bored easily with things that I do for a long time. And what's nice about voice acting is it's different every single time. So what I do is I've set myself small little goals. Like, I don't have like a major overall goal. Like, I just like to keep doing this for as long as possible. And so like my mini goals are just like, okay, do this, this, and this. Like, or I'll set like this crazy astronomical goal and be like, someday I'm going to reach that. Like, so that way I always have something I'm striving towards. One of the biggest goals I had, which I thought was going to take me years, was to be a lead in a Square Enix game. Something like Kingdom Hearts or Final Fantasy and stuff. And fuck me, because I already accomplished that, which was great. So I got to be Randy, who's the lead character in Secret of Mana, which is a Square Enix game. And I was just super stoked with that. So I'll set like goals like that for myself. Like, the next thing I would like to do is score a lead role in an anime somewhere. So someday, that I'm still working on that, but I've got some really, really cool stuff coming out that I can't wait to talk about with you guys.
Oh man. So speaking of like roles in the anime, I got my friend Araxis has a pretty interesting question.
Sure.
What did you find? How did you react when you found out that your role in Fate? How did you react to know that his name was Caules Forbedge Yigged Millennia? What the hell?
Oh, good job. You got it. Well, it was interesting. I didn't know about... I was a fan of the Fate series. Like I loved Fate Zero, and Tony Oliver, who's the director on all the Fate anime done by Aniplex, he's a huge fan of the Fate series too. So that's his baby. Tony will take extra time with you because he wants to make sure all the Fate anime sounds just fucking like spot on. So he'll take extra time with you. And funny enough, I didn't audition for that show. Mami Okada, who's the director, the casting director at Bang Zoom Entertainment, she actually just was like, she looked at the role and at the character and thought of me for it, and she just automatically cast me in that role. And I like, which was amazing because I love Fate, and I never heard of Fate Apocrypha before. So I did my research, I did my homework, and found out like, okay, so this is who I'm playing. I'm playing this just like nebbishy, geeky older brother type. Right on. That's in my wheelhouse, so cool. When I found out his name, I didn't even want to guess what it was. At first, I thought it was Klaus, but it turned out to be Caules. And I asked Tony, I was like, "Is it Klaus?" And he's like, "No, it's Caules." And then we did like 15 takes because I couldn't get his full name. And like there are and I'm like, why? Excuse me. Take a sip of water. Why am I saying my own last name in this? Like, what's the point? And like, a lot of people say Yiga de Millennia a lot, but like, I kept fucking up that name. And like, it's like he introduces himself. It's like, oh, I'm Caules Forvig Yiga de Millennia, and I'd always just be like, Caules Forvig Yiga de like, and I just keep messing it up. But I finally have it now after a lot of, like, after the first session, I went home and I practiced my last name. I was like, Yiga de Millennia. On the car ride home, I was like, Yiga de Millennia, Yiga de Millennia, Yiga de Millennia, Yiga de Millennia. I got it. Okay. God. Okay. Good. Yeah.
Can you do the line for me? Because I never saw Fate Apocrypha. Now I'm totally curious.
I forget. It's so hard. Okay, before I get into it, I always, because I used to be like an anime fan. I'd go to the conventions and I'd tell like one of my first really great experiences was meeting voice actress Monica Rial at a convention like in 2005 or something. And I was so excited. I think the anime Madlax had come out, and I had like a little postcard from one of the panels they did, and I wanted her to sign in, and she was super sweet. And I'd always get like, oh, why don't like the voice actors ever remember their like lines? Like I would remember my line if I was a voice actor. And sure enough, no. That's I sorry to disappoint like Tom from like 15 years ago, but it's fucking impossible to remember all those lines. Like I don't remember most of my lines from like any that I've done. But I know Caules, one of the things Caules did say was and above all that, I am a mage of Yiga de Millennia, which is another line that I fucked up like 20 times. But like, but that was the line. I am a mage of Yiga de Millennia. It's just a ridiculous word. Ridiculous. There was another time too when I was recording. If you guys are familiar with another Aniplex show, Magi, the Labyrinth of Magic. I got to come back and do that, and I play Hakuryu's older brother, Hakuyu. In that, and one of the words that was always threw me off was what was it? It was Magnostadt.
What?
No, it was Rook. Rook is the if you guys are familiar with the show, Rook is the essence that gives a mage their magical power or whatever, and it's often in the form of like lit up butterflies, and Tony was my director in that show too. And so it's just like my line was this one-off character, this NPC who was not important at all to the story, but he's doing a test with Aladdin, and his line is because Aladdin has a lot of ruh within him, and he sees it all, and he's just like, oh, the line is, what's with all the ruh? And he's trying to bat away the butterflies, and I guess I wasn't saying it right. Like it was just weird because I couldn't hear it, and we did like 30 takes, I swear, just on that one line for the not important character at all. What's with all the ruch? Tony be like, no, it's ruch. And I was like, ruch? No, ruch. And I'm like, Tony, it just sounds the same to me how you're saying it. Ruch. No, it's ruch. And I swear to God, it was just like, he was just like, say it like a Hasidic Jew, ruch. And I was like, ruch? And he was just like, you know what? We're gonna take one of them. Is gonna sound close enough. And I was just like, please don't ever let me say that fucking word ever again. Like, can we just rewrite the fucking line?
Oh my god. So, my throat's like legit hurting for even trying that. Oh my god. Oh jeez. Ooh, VFX Mario has a really long question.
Oh, okay. Let's see if we can get to it.
Ooh.
Let's see. I have one to kind of bounce off of the goal question. What makes voice acting fun for you? Is it putting a bit of yourself into the character or improving as you get more roles? I find I love the collaborative process the most. Being able to contribute to a much bigger picture to see it all come together is the best feeling. I think, yeah, most actors have that same feeling, Mario. What makes it fun for me is just getting to do things that are just, like, not me. Like, because me, I think I'm a just boring fucking person in general, but, like, getting to play, like, a different character, to put on a different voice, or, like, a different DLC skin, or, like, doing something different that's just outside of what my normal life is just fun for me. Because when I used to do on-camera acting, all this was just me, and like I would get cast as like just the nerdy guys. Like that was just my look. I'd be just like the nerdy type. Like I've done shows for like Hannah Montana, and like when I was younger, I used to do all that, and I'd be in the background and I'd play like students or stuff like that. Sometimes I still can pass off as a student. Like I get ID'd because I look kind of young in person. But being a voice actor, I could do anything. Like that's what's fun for me. Like I don't have to be just limited to what I look like. It just depends on what I can sound like. So I can sound like an evil, maniacal, like serial killer like Feitan, or I can be like the young idealistic hero like Randy, or just like the cartoony comical character like Shu from Dragon Ball Super. Like there's so much like that you can do, and that's what I find fun, is just like all the things that are just not inherently me, I can spread out and do all that. But I do agree with you, and I think all voice actors feel the same way, being able to contribute to this wonderful project that we're all working on. And whether it's putting yourself into it, sometimes I'll put my own little spin on things, but more often than not, like I'll try to stick to the Japanese because I really enjoy. I used to really, I mean, I still do. I enjoy the subs a lot, so I'll try to emulate them as much as I can while still like giving the director what they want and the producer what they want, while putting my own little like finesse into it. So it's a combination of all those things, really. But really good question, Mario.
Ooh, man, being a voice actor, yeah.
Oh no, so sorry. Go ahead. What were you gonna say, Torbrick?
I was gonna say, like, man, it sounds like when I always like thought of voice acting as like, all right, get the fuck in the booth, say some shit, go home. But then, like holding this interview of you, it's like really enlightening on like how the whole process is.
Like, I hope so.
I always assume like these voice directors are being like really hard-assed about it too, but then your stories about fucking Lex Lang just completely changed my mind.
It's as long as, again, like it's the same, it's going back, it just depends on the kind of person you are. Some directors I've had who are just really hard asses, where I was just like, I did not have a good time in that in that booth. But most often than not, like especially if you just do a good job and you're there to just give your best, and you get along, and you just develop a friendship with those people. If you can just find a way to just not do it on purpose, but like just if you just automatically just click with someone and you can form a friendship out of the things that you have that are similar, that you have similar tastes in, like it becomes just that much easier and fun. You can just fuck around, you can joke, but still get your job, because we both know that we can get the job done like that.
Ooh. So you
Aesthetic
want
has a
to?
question. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a sort of an advice question, but I honestly have been highly considering acting in musicals and voice acting, etc. What would be your advice to those who are looking to go into acting? Also, thank you for answering my questions. Yeah, absolutely. So everybody's had really, really awesome questions. My advice is if you want to go into acting, take act classes. Those are kind of how I got my start, and because you're gonna find similar and like-minded people who are just maybe starting off the same as you are, or who are maybe a little bit of ahead of the curve and have had some experience under the belt that they can help you with stuff. Take classes because that's the easy. It kind of forces you to network with them because you kind of have to get along with the other people in the class in order for you to have a good time and have a good learning experience. And that's kind of and it's honestly how I developed my start into in particular into voice acting. But yeah, take acting classes around where you're at. Find some legit people. Ask if you can audit. A lot of times teachers will do free audits so you can sit in and see if you mesh with their teaching style. That's the important word. Ask for an audit just to see if you like them and if you really dig what they like after watching them teach a class and talking to them for a little bit. Take their class, sign up for one. But definitely train yourself. Always, always, always work on your craft. It's super important. You don't ever want to get stale because the moment you get stale, especially in a really competitive industry like voice acting or acting in general, there are thousands upon thousands upon thousands of other people who are more than happy to take your spot. So always work on your craft, always work to improve, never ever stop. Like I'm still constantly I keep especially since I work in anime and video games a lot. I'm buying new video. That's why I'm doing this the gaming channel now, playing some video games, getting used to what the feel and voice acting is now in video games because it's definitely changed over the years. And video games have become more mainstream with the starts of like e-leagues and esports and all that stuff. So it's really important that and because voice acting has gotten more cinematic and video games have gotten more cinematic, you want to figure out what those styles are. Like in anime, it's really easy for me because I've grown up with anime and I still watch anime. So it's like, oh, I know this trope, I know this, and like there's the hapless characters like Tenchi and all kinds of stuff. So I can figure that out. But with like video games, it's like you really want to start playing some of those, like play the Call of Duties, play the Fortnite, play. There's not really any voice acting in that, but play the Overwatches, play play those games, play the popular games, play the Kingdom Hearts 3s, play the Final Fantasy RPG games, play the realistic games, play the puzzle game, play these games because then you'll really get a sense of what the acting is like and what you need to be able to emulate. So that's my advice. Always train, always keep working, always work on your craft because the more you do, the better you'll become, and it'll be that much harder to.
So my friend Technique TV here just asked like how do you get experience in the industry to build up to finally getting into like the job? What do you do?
Honestly, it's taking going the answer before is taking classes. Because and especially if you take classes with like people who do cast for stuff. But you want to do that excuse me. You want to do that when you're ready and when you're good and ready to start when you're ready to show off, so to speak. Like you want to make sure that that you have enough experience before you start meeting the gatekeeper, seeing the casting directors for classes or the agents for classes. The way to build up experience, I mentioned before earlier on in the stream that there are online forums that take voice acting as a hobby. You can get started there and you can build up your experience there because there are a lot of indie developers out there now who are creating all these wonderful, like Steam has been a wonderful platform for indie developers because they can make their own games and it's easy enough to read, and they'll reach out to voice acting forums and say, hey, I need voices for this, like Casting Call Club or Voice Acting Club. Go on those sites because some of them do offer paid work, so you can get your experience doing that or auditioning for projects. And Those forums are really good for like asking for feedback. You can be like, hey, can I get feedback for this audition, or what can I improve next time, and stuff like that. So they're all there. They're really good communities to get, and you never know, because one of them may make it big someday, and like they'll cast you in projects. So be friends with all those people, help them out when they need help, give them feedback, ask for feedback, do all that stuff. And then again, you can take classes from people who are like fellow actors, like Crispin Freeman. I took classes with him, and Tony Oliver. I took classes with him, and they're really, really good teachers. So study with people who are actively working in the industry, I would say.
So do you like submit like normal resumes, or do you have to do something else to like apply for these gigs?
It depends. When I first start, and then what I do, it's marketing yourself. So it's basically me. Occasionally, I'll reach out to studios that I haven't worked with before, and out of state studios too, since I have my own home studio. It's you wanna be really genuine with your approach. You don't want to be just like another like, hey, I'm a voice actor of cast me in this stuff. Like, I have all these credits. Look at all the. You want to just be like, hey, my name's Tom. I am a voice actor. I'm based in LA. I saw you guys have a studio out. Do you guys have any need for voice actors? I'm a pretty good talent. I've worked with all these people in Los Angeles. You can check out my demo and my website and stuff like that. And that's really important. You want to have a demo because that's kind of your calling card. That's what they're going to want to hear, which is basically a 1-minute clip of the different voices you can do in the different style. You want to have a different demo for each genre that you want to voice act in. So a demo for commercials, a demo for video games, for animation, for audiobooks, for narration, for phone tags, things like that. So you want to have demos for the different types of voice acting.
Oh,
to get gigs, like oftentimes your agent will send you out on casting calls or give you auditions, or the studios that you've built a rapport with, and once they start trusting you, they'll send you auditions. Like Bang Zoom sends me auditions all the time. I get a couple auditions from other studios around the SoCal area. So it just depends. It depends on how hard you kind of market yourself. But again, you don't want to be overly aggressive. There was a director I just had lunch with who was just complaining about a guy who constantly sends him like updates about himself like every week, and like you don't want to do that. Maybe like reach out to them once every like 3 months or something, just to see like if they have any room, or maybe like once every 4 or 5 months, like something like that along those lines. You don't want to be really like pushy and needy and aggressive. You want to be cool. People like nowadays, they just love the cool, just chill people. So just be chill about it. Just be yourself. That's honestly the best way you're gonna get roles, is just marketing yourself, being genuine, being friendly, not being pushy, and just having that body of work with you, and having your demo. Your demo's probably going to be your most, because that's the thing they're going to listen to the first like that and figure out within those first 20 seconds, like, is this someone I want to work with?
Ooh. And he also asked is it more difficult to be a voice actor if you're outside of Los Angeles?
It depends. Los Angeles has a lot going on for it. It's the I mean, Hollywood is the entertainment capital of the world. So it depends on what type of voice acting you want to do. You can find voice acting online now, like, and that's just really, really great. I think it's great. It's also kind of a hindrance because it's like, oh, now there's less jobs for everybody out there. But like, it's great for if you're like located not in a place where there's a lot of voice acting. And not to harp back on him, but Crispin Freeman talks about it in the Voice Acting Mastery podcast in depth. So I would go find that episode and listen to it. What if you don't listen to, or what? Because he answers that question. What if you don't live in LA? What if you don't live in a place that has high voice acting jobs? Online, honestly, there are websites like Voices 123, like the Voice Acting Club. Like there are things you can do where you can get started and build your, like, I have friends who have like 1 million followers who like they live in like Philadelphia, and like they just network with all the voice actors online, and they go to conventions whenever they have enough money and meet up with fellow voice actors, and they do all this stuff. So it just depends on how hard you want to work at it. You can find jobs online, but if you want like the bigger stuff, like video games and the anime, you definitely want to either go to Texas or most specifically the Dallas-Fort Worth area, because that's where Funimation's at, and they cast in-house for their own stuff. Or you want to come to LA because you got Bang Zoom, you've got a bunch of other studios who do anime here as well. Or in Canada too, they do some. So if you really want to do like the major stuff, like the Nickelodeon, the Cartoon Network, the AAA video games, Call of Duties, you're gonna want to move to LA. And that's not an easy thing. I say that like it's an easy thing. It's not an easy thing. You want to make sure you're fucking prepared for that, because LA is a ruthless town. It is ruthless, and they will just walk all over you. And I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen to some really nice kids who've come thinking like, oh, I'm gonna be the next biggest thing. Some of them have made it, and some of them have just went back home. And it's sad, but that's the reality of this industry. It's sometimes it can be really cutthroat. Sometimes it's just really like, you know what? And it's not always about being the best actor for the role. And that's a rude awakening that I see a lot of that a lot of people, especially actors, don't get. Sometimes there's just different things. Sometimes it's like, oh, the director's friend, he's going to cast in this, or sometimes there's nepotism involved. Sometimes it's just like, oh, this guy's really popular and all the fans love him, let's put him in this. Oh, like this guy, like he has a really good voice and I haven't heard him in a while, so let's put him in this thing. There's a lot that's just going to go against you, and you have to just be comfortable with your own. You have to have a thick skin. You have to have comfortable enough skin where you realize that those elements are out of your control. You have no control over those things. All you can do is just be the best damn person that you can be, with just how nice you are, helpful, generous, being there, just being a part of the community, being active but also not aggressively so. There's some fine like niches that you just, and mistakes honestly that you have to make for yourself. I can talk to you about all the mistakes I've made, and sometimes the same people I've talked to will make those same mistakes, and sometimes it's almost like parenting. You have to like let them make certain mistakes on their own, because they're just not going to get it otherwise if they listen to someone who's gone through that before.
So you're saying that a real winner in this industry will be able to learn from these mistakes instead of like ignoring them.
I think someone who wants success in this industry is someone who won't let rejection, because there's this industry, you have to be really okay with rejection. It's like a girlfriend breaking up with you every time you get an audition. And especially if it's an audition you like, you have to be okay with that. You just have to be fine with it, and it's okay not to be. You just have to be able to just move on from it. Like, just be careful about like venting to people, because the voice acting industry is pretty close knit. So if you say something about someone or something in voice acting, chances are it's gonna get around. So just be cool, be okay with things that are not things that are not within your own control. Like, the only thing you can control is you and what you do. So if you have a good grasp on that, and you work, again, like I said, if you work hard and you are nice to everybody and you're just kind, humble, and helpful, chances are you'll have a greater chance of success.
Whoa. You see, that all it takes is just grinding your nose to the grindstone, guys, and you just gotta keep going. Yeah. Like, the chances are, like he said, like, Tom here doesn't even get all of his, like, auditions that he goes for, but the roles he does get, he just does a really good job at, and that just helps you.
And that's absolutely true. There, honestly, like, I am so lucky to be as successful as I am in voice acting, and the honest to God truth is, I've done hundreds upon hundreds of auditions, and like I've got like a handful of, I think my IMDb now is at like 30 credits out of the hundreds and hundreds of auditions that I've done. So don't feel bad if you don't, like, if you do decide to try this industry out, you don't get something right away. It took me years before I got like Feitan, honestly. So, and that was my breakout role, and that's what helped get my name across, just being in a popular anime for a popular character.
and that's how I found him. That's how I started talking to him, because his role of Feitan was just like so like right in there. It affected me as a person. Just like I was just sitting here like 1 a.m. when it showed on TV. I was like just drinking a beer, and I was just like, damn, that is really good. Like he was next to Nobunaga. He was like, all right, Uvoken, gotta go do things, and he's just sitting here like, and I will do thing this way. Yeah, and right. I was just like, holy shit, that's creepy. That was freaking blasted.
Technique TV also asked, so were you originally based in LA, Tom, or did you move to LA in pursuit of this? Also, thanks for answering all the questions. This is really insightful. I'm glad, Technique. No, born and raised. I'm an LA kid. I'm a California kid, born and raised here, so I'm lucky to have been born here. So I didn't really have to. And I love LA. It's weird. It's just a hodgepodge of just weird people from different parts of the country who live in LA, so it's awesome. But no, I was born and raised here in LA. And Mario asks, as someone who is planning to move to Florida by the end of the year, are there many opportunities there for voice acting? I don't know much about what I can do in that state at the moment. Currently in Syracuse, New York, for reference. Still haven't been to a local booth and had the authentic experience. Florida, I don't know much. I told Torbrex about a lady named MJ Lalo who lives in Florida now, so look her up. It's the letters MJ, and Lalo spelled Lallo. You can look her up online, and she's great. You reach out to her, tell her Tom, she would love. But she's really good. So if you're gonna move to Florida and you're relatively close to her, I'd say look her up. But if you're gonna be in Florida, I don't know much about the marketing in that state for voice acting. I would say your best chances to do online stuff like the Voice Acting Club, or even I know Newgrounds still does stuff. I know it gets a little crazy there, but like you can go to Newgrounds, Voice Acting Club, Casting Call Club, things like that. So I would try those out. Yeah. No, you're good. Long question. No, I love long questions. Please ask away. I probably have about a half hour left before I got to get going, but please get your questions in now if you have any more. And because I got to get ready for my show tonight. I'm doing some stand-up with some other voice actors. Aesthetic says, Tom, it's gonna be awesome. Tom, that's honestly how it is. So in the art industry, especially animation, I feel like a lot of fine art is so competitive. You definitely need to hold your own spine and rip through people with the kindest and most iron-covered heart. It's true. I think in any industry, you just have to be aware of what you have control over, because the things that you don't like, you're gonna have your critics. You're gonna have people who say, "Oh, well, what you did was shit," and you just got to be like, thanks. Like, okay, because you're not going to please all the people all the time. Make yourself happy. That's what's important. Do the stuff that you love, and the money and the work will come. That's how I really genuinely feel. And it's hard. It's really difficult. I say that like it's easy, but I went through blood, sweat, and tears, moments where I just wanted to fucking give up on this, that I just did not want to do it anymore. And you just have to find that perseverance and that will, and it helps to have a strong support system. So if you have friends and family members who support you and believe you can do it, you're going to have a better time. It's hard to do it on your own. This is hard. And most any industry where there's big communities of people, it's hard. It's difficult. It's almost impossible to do it by yourself. You have to have people who believe in you. You have to have people who really... You have to have people you can go to just vent and just say like, oh, this fucking sucked. I had this horrible session. The director was bad. Like, he cussed me out, like saying I was a hack. I did all that. Like, you have to be able to just find those people you can vent to and trust that they won't say anything to anybody else when you vent. But like, you have to have a strong skin. You have to be able to, because oftentimes you will be alone. There are times that you're just going to be by yourself, and you just have to sit with these feelings and just be like, what am I doing wrong? And just scream it out into the universe, like, please give me a fucking break. Like, and you just have to be able to get through that and realize that tomorrow's a new day, and just get through it. It's hard though. It's not easy. Definitely not easy. So I have a lot of respect for people who try, and I don't blame the people who just, at the end of the day, like, this isn't for me. It takes a lot of courage to say that. It takes a lot of courage to stay in this industry too. So
I got a question from, speaking of criticism by Habitat for Jungle. So did a fan ever directly criticized any of your performances before?
Yeah, I had a fan, not a fan of mine. Well, maybe. I mean, a fan of the show, like for Hunter x Hunter, because I got a lot of mixed reactions for it because the producer wanted me to go a certain way with it, different from what and honestly, as the show went on, I kind of went back to the way that I wanted to do it, and like fans really appreciated that, especially in the later episode with the fight with Zazan in Hunter x Hunter, between Zazan and Feitan, like that was my most comfortable Feitan. That I already, at that point, I knew the character, I knew what I wanted to do, I fucking owned it, so it was just like that. But yeah, it was on like a Reddit forum, because I was just like, hey, I'm the voice of Feitan in Hunter x Hunter, ask me anything. I did an AMA on there, and straight up said like it was just bad, like it was just a bad fucking performance or whatever. And like, that's fair. Like you can say that, you can feel however you want to, like, and you just have to be okay with yourself as an artist, as an actor, as whoever you are in a creative industry, that not everybody's just gonna like your stuff, and you just move on. Like, you just have to take it with a grain of salt. Sometimes like they'll have something important or like something substantial to it, and you can choose to take that and be like, okay, how can I grow from this? This is probably legit criticism, you know, I can take that and work on it and do that. But it really helped to kind of connect with the fans too, because ultimately you're doing this for the people who buy these buy the DVDs, or who pay for the subscriptions to Crunchyroll and Hulu and Netflix and all the platforms that you can stream anime on, and other shows and other things that have voice acting in it. So you have to just be okay with yourself. Again, it just kind of goes back to having that self-care, having that support system, because you're gonna get people all the time to tell you fucking suck. Like I've had my share. A lot of the more prominent voice actors have had their own too, and you just got to be like, well, I think my favorite was Erica Lindbeck. She's a famous voice actress, and my favorite kind of thing from her is like, in regards to when she gets like shit on for like a role that she's done or whatever, she just straight up, whenever it says like, you were bad in this role, she's straight up like, yay, thanks, like, or just something stupid like that. Like, so you just have to be, you know, you just take it with a grain of salt. It's hard because like sometimes criticism can be brutal, but you have to take it, you have to be able to trust that what you and the director are doing, or what you're doing, is good enough. Like, you're good enough already because you're a human being. So you're already kind of halfway there. You just have to have those fine finesses when you're acting and doing all that stuff. So it's hard to take criticism, but you have to just be able to let it roll off your shoulders.
Man, taking criticism could be freaking like brutal sometimes. Like I have, so
yeah, totally.
I don't think I ever told anybody the story, but I had a stream layout older than this one, right? It was like the ugliest thing ever. Like I had like old ass tapestry for individual labels, and I got cherry blossoms for the background, and I did this particular one because I was streaming a Naruto game, and I was like, okay, what's the weebiest fucking thing I could do for this bullshit? And I was like, and I brought the beers and all that shit. I was like, all right, let's do it. So I just like got lazy after the Naruto stream. I just didn't want to take it off because I was like, damn, I didn't realize I spent like 5 fucking hours making this stupid fucking layout. So I was like, yeah, whatever, nobody cares. And then my friend, bless his jackass of a heart, he actually made a fucking video review criticizing my fucking layout.
Oh shit.
Like, legit took 15 minutes to pick out each individual thing, and he went as far as saying I was so fucking ugly that he just pasted a picture of John Stamos over my face.
Aww.
And I was like, damn. Like, I don't know if I was supposed to have my feelings hurt or if I was supposed to laugh my fucking ass off, but that's how I got this new stream layout. I was like, okay, let's take this for reals this time. It's like, it's all about taking the criticism and working with it.
For sure. Let's see. Yeah.
I was like, damn, dude.
Technique TV says, is voice acting fairly financially reasonable? No. Is it a steady or reliable income? No. Or are you always on the hunt for the next gig? That's more accurate. You're always on the hunt for the next gig. Jeremy Lee, who voices Asuna in Sword Art Online, put it best, like, because she goes through the same things too. Sometimes you'll have really good days or weeks or months or years, and sometimes you're going to have really bad days, weeks, months, years where you're just not going to get any work. So you have to be able to do those other things. And that's why a lot of people do like script adaptations or directing work too, or other things in the industry. Find other things, become a jack of all trades. That will help you a lot. If you can do more than just voice acting, the financial stuff won't be as worrisome, because as a voice actor, it's really hard to make a living on that alone. I found a pretty good niche in it. I also do voice acting for the Disneyland Resort every week, so that's been reliable income for me, but most of the time it is not. And Shermie put a blog about it in one of her videos. She does like video blogs and stuff, so go check her out too. She's fantastic. But she recounts like having those, like, she still gets them too. As even like the most famous voice actors you'll see, sometimes they'll have dry spells too, and it's just hard. You just have to be able to find different things you do. Like Bob Bergen, who's the voice of Porky Pig, he has like a massage therapy license, so he does that sometimes. You know, just be able to do other things. Like, I think it'll help you when you're voice acting. Like, it's okay to have a day job, be a waiter, be you know, it's okay to have those types of jobs. Just be able to financially support yourself with a day job, and then when you got the time, do the acting thing, put your weight out there, and then the more you do it, the more you'll be able to rely on voice acting income as opposed to your like day job income. But it's definitely not a reliable source of income. So let me put that out there. Have something else you can do.
So didn't even Son Shammo of all people go through a massive dry spell between Dragon Ball Kai and Super?
Oh, he might have. I know he does stuff other than Dragon Ball, but like, cause he's a voice actor. But like, yeah, he might have. I'm not familiar with his with how that went. But yeah, you'll get dry spell sometimes, and you just have to be able to have another skill set that you can make money at, like because that'll be easy. But also if you want to make money at voice acting, you always have to market yourself. Go on those websites, go like, hey, I'm a voice actor, put yourself out there, make sure that people know who you are, do stuff on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, and share your projects that you've done, and like make your demos, share those online, have a website, point people that are hiring for voice acting, like, hey, go to my website, check out my demos, all this stuff, you can see my credits and all that stuff, because it's really, really difficult. VFX Mario says, okay, so I have a technique based one. How do you go about going to your higher or lower ranges? I've always heard of different ways people prepare themselves or warm up for them. I've only been able to go to my low range naturally after a bit of humming. Honestly, singing, if you're a singer, that helps. Crispin Freeman actually suggests, like, get into singing, do some singing lessons, because doing scales, that'll help you grow your range. If you constantly practice your scales, going from those low lows to those high highs, those will help. You have to be able to control your voice. You have to be able to place it in different places. So my voice naturally tends to be nasally, so because my voice comes out of my mask right here, around this part of my face, but I can also drop it a little bit and it can come right down here. So if I want to be a little bit more chill and less nasally, it'll just kind of more sound like this. And if you wanted to put it even lower, you have to be able to drop it into your chest. That means you have to also, I can't do it don't do this while you're sitting. But a good exercise too is this, because the more low or high you get, the more air you're pushing from your diaphragm. I'm going to stand up a little bit just so you can see my belly. But like, you want to be able to, your diaphragm is located right around here. So you want to be able to fill it with as much air as possible and be able to push that forward and have that same amount of control. And a way you can do that is you can lay down on your back and place like a heavy book on it, and then just practice breathing in and out. And feel your diaphragm expand and then deflate. Just do those breathing exercises. That really helped me. Another good tip, yeah, Tony recommends doing scales and singing and stuff too. It's best not to do it while you're sitting because your diaphragm is compressed when you're sitting. So either doing standing up or just laying down flat on your back. Make sure there isn't any added pressure on your diaphragm. Otherwise, you could hurt yourself. But also, if you have like a lisp or like a slur, what helps too is seeing like a voice therapist, helping you break those and getting you back into it. Or even if you have an accent, like if you have like a Spanish accent or a foreign language accent, go to a speech therapist because they can help you out with that. Another thing that helps if you're like slurring or you're doing like different, like if you have like a slur or you're not able to articulate well, is to place a wine cork in between your teeth and just like talk with that cork in your mouth, because it's gonna force you to articulate over that, and it's gonna help your speech pattern a little bit. So I hope those tips are helpful, Mario.
Whoa, that's actually really good depth. I never heard of that wine cork trick.
Yeah, it's a really neat trick. Tony actually taught me that one because I had trouble saying energy. Was one of the words, like it was one of the I was doing a class with him and I had trouble saying energy. It would always come out as energy, 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 and he was just like, put a wine cork in between your teeth and start talking. And sure enough, I was just like, energy, energy. It forces your mouth to make weird things. So always just stretch out your mouth and do. Make sure you warm up before any session too. I should put that out there. But those are some tips. I hope those help. Those are just my personal ones. Voice actors have different ones. A bunch of teachers and mentors will have different ones. So find the one that works for you. Those are just a couple of the ones that I use, but find the one that works for you and do those.
Whoa. Man. So, excuse me. I've always been interested in what it's like for the history. Oh, okay. So there's like another question we have here. It's involved with Fate. So I don't like you watch the show, yeah? So yeah. An anonymous person asks like, I'm not sure what this means in the context of Fate, so why do you think Caules didn't call Frankenstein back? Like, I assume that's some kind of a spoiler, right? Though.
I guess it depends what the context is. I'm assuming that this person is talking about why didn't Caules bring Frankenstein back during that battle. Spoiler for Fate Apocrypha fans, or people who have not seen Fate Apocrypha yet, so mute me or whatever you gotta do. But Frankenstein, Caules' servant is Frankenstein's monster, and she dies during the battle. And why didn't he call her back? I remember going through a lot of emotions for that, because I felt like there was a deeper affection than just a deeper relationship between the two, other than master and servant. Like, I treated it as if he, and Tony agreed with me, like, that he could be in love with Frankenstein's monster. So as for the reason he didn't call her back, it might have been too late, because he was aware that her noble phantasm would probably kill her, which is her ultimate. Noble phantasm is her ultimate attack, and he wanted to take out one of the big players, and he figured like there was no other choice, and that's probably why he did it. That's what I would assume. Feel free to send your theories to me. Maybe I can work them out in my head, but like that's what I feel is that's what I feel. But again, it's hard to know what you're talking about without the context. I'm assuming that's what you mean, what the question was.
Yeah, because I don't know anything about Fate, so when I asked that question, I'm like, what the fuck are Frankenstein's monsters in this? I was like, why am I not watching this? Because apparently King Arthur's in it too. I was like, what the fuck? But man, and they're all apparently cute girls or something. I was like, oh.
Oh yeah. Let's see. Technique asks, do you watch all of your own work? Does it make it you self-conscious at all in any way? I feel like putting myself in such a public space would make me feel uncomfortable. Well, you definitely have to be comfortable with that because you're putting your work out there for thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people who watch anime. And I do sometimes. I go back, but it's a mistake, and I don't usually do it anymore. But I used to, especially when I was like Feitan, because I'd always be like, "Oh, I fucking suck. They were right. Why didn't I just do that?" And I'll get in my own head, and that's not a good space you want to do. But sometimes I will like, and we'll do some fun things like with other actors. Like I did a viewing party when Fate Apocrypha came out. We did a live Twitch stream, and that was a lot of fun. And we watched the episodes together, and I was able to like just see how I did during that. But occasionally, very occasionally, I'll not so much anymore. I used to a lot. I used to be obsessed with like, oh, how did I do? Oh my god, I sucked. So I stopped doing that. But yeah, occasionally I'll watch it. Does it make you self-conscious? Yeah. At first it did, because I wasn't really comfortable with my own voice. I was just like, why am I cursed with this voice? But now I'm like, oh, thank God I have this voice, because I wouldn't have gotten the roles that I have if I didn't. But yeah, you're right. And Mario asks, this is a bit of a weird one, but as someone who has gone to cons, would you say business cards during a casual introduction helps with new connections or meeting a professional after the con? Gotta know what's considered good manners after all. Okay, I have a funny story. It didn't happen to me. It happened to a friend of mine. I do have business cards, and they do help. Yeah, anything like, some people will do some really cool stuff that I think I want to do, where their business card is actually a USB drive. And they'll give it to like casting directors and stuff like that, and it'll have their demos and their information on there. So that's really cool. Again, when you're meeting anyone, when you're doing a casual introduction, just say hi. Thank you so much. Like, be cool. Just be cool. Be chill. Be you. That's what I'd like to stress. And even if you're giving someone a business card. But a good friend of mine, John Allen, who we were at a convention. Forget which one it was. And he was we went to an after party con with a bunch of voice actors. It was just an after party for just us to like network with other voice actors we haven't met before and other industry people like casting directors and stuff. And he got a business card from somebody else who gave him one saying, hey, like, we should get together and do like, excuse me, voiceover like workouts and stuff. So he had but he had his own business card, but he took his business card from another person, and he was meeting he met this one con booker. So this lady, really nice lady, who books talent for conventions across the country, and he was like trying to be really smooth with it. It was so funny because he was just like, like he did this like move. I forgot what it was, but like he did this like cool move and like handed her business card, and it was the wrong fucking business card. It was the business card he was handed before from another person, and she looks at it and she's like, oh, and it was like it was a woman, so it was like, oh, I already represent this person, and it was just a really funny like humiliating thing, but that like kind of got him in too, so. It's good, funny moments like that can happen too, but like, yeah, I think it's good to have a business card.
I think he made an impression, so hey.
Yeah, he made an impression for sure. So yeah, I got about maybe like 10 minutes left on here, so if you have any last minute questions or if there are any other questions from you guys, I gotta jam in about 10 minutes, but let me know, please.
All right. What was it? Oh yeah, so I had a question on my own while we're like waiting for these people. Yeah. So, were you contracted to do all of your roles all at once at the same time, or did you have to like go little bit by little bit as like sales came in for like something like Feitan?
Well, like Feitan, when we go in, when you're casting something, they'll set a date, and usually we'll do about, with anime, they'll do about 4 or 5, maybe 6 if you're really good and you don't have a lot of lines, maybe 4 or 5 episodes at a time. And usually it depends on the director too, like what they want to do. Because usually I'll do all the main character that I voice first, and then I'll do like the other characters. But you're basically contracted for that one character, and then it's up to you to try to get cast for like other characters. So you got to finish all those lines, and you're only contracted for that show. There's a chance that you might not be cast in the movie, which I had a fear of. I'm like, oh, I hope I get to play Feitan in Phantom Rouge, which is the one of the Hunter x Hunter movies. But like there are never any guarantees. A lot of people have been asking me because they just announced a new a Fate spin-off anime featuring Waver Lord El Malloy, and Caules is actually in that. He makes a return, and people have been asking me, are you going to come back and do that? Are you going to come back and be Caules in the El Malloy case files? And I don't know yet. I would love to, but there's a chance I could be recast and they can give it to somebody else. There are different factors into it. I was just contracted to play Caules in Fate Apocrypha, so I would love to come back. So if anybody is listening who's at Aniplex or Bang Zoom, like I would love to come back as Caules. It would be great. But no word just yet. And I'm sure when we're able to make announcements, or if that show is even going to get dubbed, like it'll be put out there.
Oh, so for a long running show like Hunter x Hunter, does the studio like have a contract to dub the entire thing all at once, or are they doing it piece by piece as like if like sales are bad or something?
Yeah, they do. It depends on where it's being distributed at. If it's like Netflix, they want it like done like right away. Like they want it all as much as you can get done as possible. They'll move really fast. If it's for like Hunter x Hunter, it was more based on the DVD kind of sales and also the broadcast on Toonami. So that was done piece by piece. That was done by what are called volumes. So usually about 4 episodes at a time per season. So it depends. It really depends on who's distributing and producing. Because it could be either way.
Oh, because I always assumed that like studios get the rights to like do the entire thing and just do it. Like sales be damned. But then I remember shows like Gal Gaigar never even got like half the friggin' show dubbed. They have like a Blu-ray disc of like half the show dubbed, but then the rest you're like, yeah, watch it in Japanese, you good, man.
Right. So yeah, it depends. Sometimes that happens. Let's see. Okay, so there are a lot of ways to train or gain experience, but here's an interesting one. Has there ever been a wrong way to learn based on your experiences or from seeing others going about things the wrong way? The wrong way to learn is by putting your own 2 cents in. There's a voice actor who me and a couple other voice actors took a class with early on, who I won't say who it is, just for their own protection, and I don't really like talking shit anyway, but like it's who was just obnoxious and who would say like, well, I think this is how it should be done, and that stuff. And it's like you're kind of interrupting the flow of the class. Like, let the teacher say, and then if they ask for feedback from you, like, yeah, do that. But there isn't really a wrong way to learn unless like you're just doing the opposite of what the teacher tells you. And again, sometimes teaching method just won't work or mesh with your style of how you learn. Sometimes people are very visual learners, sometimes they're very hands-on. Sometimes they do it better by just reading instructions or listening to like a audiobook or podcast or instruction. So it depends on your learning style too. So I don't think there's a really wrong way to learn something. I think it's just you have to be, the most important thing though is you have to be open-minded, even if something doesn't work for you. Like just be open-minded and try it. It could be frustrating, but at least maybe you'll learn something out of that experience. So I think the wrong way to learn is to be closed-minded and say like, oh, that'll never work for me. Like I'm just not even gonna try. I'm not gonna do it. Well, you just dropped like $400 on this class. Like at least try it, right? So I think just be open-minded.
Ooh. And somebody has a big boy question.
Big boy question here. What's your fave movie? Says Aesthetic. I have a couple. It's such a hard question. I I love 12 Angry Men. That's probably one of my most favorite movies. It's a classic.
Yes.
It's a really, really good movie. If you're like talking like Disney movie, I love Robin Hood and The Fox and the Hound. Those are really, really, really good. I love those movies too. So I would say those are my answers.
Man, dude, think I find another fan of 12 Angry Men. I watched that one day in like a speech class in college to like fix my bullshit talking, but that movie was like great because the speech is coming out like this and this and this and this, but you understood everything about it. It's fun.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I love that. I love that movie too. Mario has the last one for me for fun. Any games, movies, or shows you're looking forward to in 2019? Doesn't have to be anything you're involved in, of course. Yeah, I wish. I wish I could talk about this because there's some really, really cool stuff that's coming out and stuff that like you guys don't even know. Like, there's a thing that's coming out that is just like, oh shit, like they actually did this, like that I get to be a voice in, and I'm just like so excited, but I gotta wait. Hopefully it's 2019, but we'll see. I got a lot of stuff coming out in 2019, some stuff that it's gonna be on Netflix and Amazon Prime. But for shows that I'm a fan of, Game of Thrones, obviously, I can't wait to see that end. Barry, it's a new show on, it's an HBO show with Bill Hader. It's a fucking amazing show. I love that show. Can't wait for more. BoJack Horseman, I'm a big fan of too. It's just you got to be really emotionally prepared for that show. That show will just like destroy you. It'll obliterate your. Let's see, movies. Captain Marvel, obviously. Spider-Man, and Avengers Endgame. All the Marvel movies. I can't wait. I can't wait for Captain Marvel. That looks really, really good. Shazam also actually looks amazing, so I can't wait to catch that. Let's see. Games. Kingdom Hearts 3 I was looking forward to, and now I finally have it. Funny about Kingdom Hearts 3, I auditioned for Kingdom Hearts 3. I didn't get a role, sad to say, but I auditioned for the role of Hayner, who was one of Roxas's friends in Twilight Town. That would have been cool to get that, but I'm sure whoever got cast did a really, really fine job too. And a bunch of my friends are in it too, so I'm really happy for them. Any other games? Mortal Kombat looks pretty awesome. Looking forward to that. I might play that on the stream. Maybe play with Kyle. I think that's about it. I'm sure there's some really other cool games, like any new scary games that come out. I like to play too, or I like to take a look at. But yeah, that's about it. Six says, "Oh Tom, Patriots or Rams?" Oh, Aesthetic, you gotta ask me that one. Either. That was the most fucking boring Super Bowl I've ever seen.
I fell asleep during it. Holy shit!
Yeah, I'd have to say neither. Aesthetic. I'm not a like. If I wanted to be bored while watching like 11 guys from Massachusetts play a game, I'd fucking go and go to Boston in like some comedy room, like script writing room or something. Like it's not. It wasn't great. The game was so boring. It was so boring. It was like 3-0 for the longest time, and then it went at 3-3, and I'm like, for fuck's sake. And then it finally was at 10-3, and I was like, okay, it's over. I'm just like, the commercials were more, and then that fucking halftime show, like I had to turn it off. I was just like, at this point, no more. I can't do it anymore.
Yeah, my fucking Super Bowl party got broken up because of that stupid halftime show. It was fucking awful.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, bye. I'll see you tomorrow. I'm gonna go get drunk by myself.
So I think that's it for me. If there's any like last minute question you have, I gotta go though. But anybody has any last minute questions, I'm out of here. That halftime show sucked. Yeah, hell yeah, it did.
Yeah. I don't have anything, and we'll just wait a second to see if somebody else has something.
Sure, I'll stick around for another minute or so.
Yeah. But man, this is a
But thank you guys, yeah. This was a lot of fun. Thank you to Torbrex. Thank you so much for having me on, man. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I actually have a story about how this even happened. People didn't believe me when I told them I knew you, right? I was like, how the fuck am I gonna prove I even know you? So for the longest time, I was like, I kind of want to do something fun with him, but it can't be anything like, I'll play a game with him. I wanted to do something that other people like too, because when I play games, it's mostly just for me and having conversation with my friends. So I was like, how about an interview? So I was like on the call with my friends, like, yeah, I'm gonna ask him, but I completely expected you to say no, you're busy. So I was like, yeah, he's never gonna say anything. So when he said yes, I was like, oh fuck, I didn't actually plan for this. So my friends had to fucking fix everything about this for me. They had to go out and like grab questions for a bunch of people and ton of Discord servers, Reddit, subreddits, fucking other forums. It was like nuts. I was like, oh damn, like this would have been fucked if I didn't have like good friends backing me up.
Thanks, man. This was fun. I really appreciate you going. Aesthetic says we stand Tom. That's too sweet. I don't deserve it. No deflection. But thank you, Aesthetic. I really appreciate it. Fighting Tom says thank you for spending time on this interview. It's an honor to meet you, Tom. Take care, man. Thank you guys too. I'm gonna go ahead and log off now. But thank you, Torbrex, again for having me on your channel, and thank you for all the questions. Thank you guys. Thank you for being fans. If you want to see more, go on my Twitch. It's twitch.tv/Tom Bauer VO. You can also follow me. I'm on Twitter and Instagram. That's TAWM Bauer. So both of those for Instagram and Twitter. So check me out on those. Thank you for the plug in there. Appreciate it. But yeah, definitely check me out. I'm on there. If you guys are in SoCal tonight, I'm doing stand up with a bunch of other great voice actors. Quentin Flynn's going to be there. Keith Farley, Kellen Goff, who's in My Hero Academia, which, man, I would kill to be in that show. It's a great show. But Lori Allen, like I mentioned, Quentin Flynn, DC Douglas, John Bailey, Victoria Atkins, a bunch of amazing people. So if you're in LA, come check it out. I'll try to put it online. I'll try to see. I'm sure one of the guys is gonna buy the video, and because I think they're gonna record it tonight. So we'll try to put it online. But thank you guys so much. This was a lot of fun. Take care. Peace out, and good luck if you guys do decide to do voice acting. Good luck on all your voice acting endeavors. I hope to see you in the...
Thank you for this, Tom. It's been really fun. I'm glad I asked you.
Yeah, thank you. And yeah, thank you again, Torbrex. I'll see you guys later. Take care, and have a great rest of your night. Bye, guys.
Good night. Alright, so that was Tom Bauer VO from... that does a ton of anime like Hunter x Hunter, Gundam IBO, all of your favorite shit. All your favorite good shit. So I don't know. I feel this is great. And I feel like he is a great person, great guy. Follow him on Twitter. Follow him on his Twitch. He plays games at least 3 times a week with and every Monday he does something with Kyle called Kingdom Mondays. He plays Kingdom Hearts every Monday with his friend Kyle, and that's great, man. That is like a great stream. It's better than my stupid shit. Like this is the best thing I ever did for my channel, and it was because of him. He's a great guy. He's legit fun. He's generally nice. You guys should check him out. But with that being said, I think unless somebody else has something to say or ask, feel free to hit me up. But generally speaking, I think we good? I'm gonna go find somebody to host. So with that being said, thank you everybody for stopping by. Please follow Tom. He's a legit great guy. Please follow him. And with that being said, I'm gonna plug him one more time for people to follow him. And thank you everybody for showing up. I really appreciate it. I spent a while planning this, and I made my friends' lives a living fucking hell because I got them involved too. And they're legitimately great people that really helped me put this shit together. And heading out, thank you, dude. No problem, VFX Mario. Like, this stuff was put together because I wanted people to, like, talk to a voice actor, and a legitimately nice one at that. But with that, I think I'm gonna call it for tonight. Thank you guys for showing up, and most importantly, just thank you guys for just for being you. I'm glad this would everybody enjoyed themselves tonight. And with that, I am gonna start my stream ending gig, and I am gonna find somebody to host. And with that, thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you again next time.